Today, we're going to dive into something pretty chilling. It's a kind of cautionary tale, really, about how an entire reality can be, well, unmade. We're not talking about a big explosion or some cosmic event. This is about a systematic collapse, a slow descent into total universal amnesia. They call it the universal undoing.
And that really gets you thinking, right? How does an entire reality just forget? The story we're exploring today suggests it's not with some big bang. It's a slow, systemic rot. A decay of knowledge that just spreads and spreads until there's absolutely nothing left. So where does a process like that even begin?
Well, it all kicks off in a place called the Great Archives, this massive universal library. And it begins with two primordial spirits. You could call them the original architects. The thing is, they were complete and total polar opposites.
So, on one side, you've got the spirit of infinite order. This entity was completely obsessed with control, with cataloging every single thing to make the universe perfectly predictable. And on the other side, the spirit of primal discord. This one loved chaos, found beauty in confusion, and its whole goal was to just unravel all meaning. It's a classic battle, right? Structure versus pure entropy?
Now, you'd expect one to eventually beat the other, but that's not what happened. Instead, these two opposing forces were fused together, merged into a single, monstrous being. The process is described as a twisted ritual of forbidden logic and desperate humor. I mean, just think about that. It's this impossible blend of pure, cold logic and absolute primal madness.
And as you can probably guess, this fusion is exactly where everything starts to go horribly wrong. The original goal, to accumulate all wisdom, gets corrupted and twisted into something terrifying, a new mission of total, universal amnesia.
See, the Spirit of Order's plan was actually pretty straightforward. Absorb all knowledge, become the smartest being in existence. Simple enough. But when you're literally fused with a being that wants the exact opposite, well, that core mission starts to get corrupted by Discord's influence. And this right here, this is the pivot, the game-changing moment. Discord had this revelation. Real power isn't about knowing everything. It's about making sure you're the only one who knows anything. And how do you achieve that? By making sure everyone else forgets everything. And just like that, the universal undoing was set in motion.
So this undoing, it wasn't like flipping a switch. It was methodical. It was a phased rot that started on the outside, with the physical world, and then slowly, insidiously, worked its way into the very fabric of the mind.
Okay, so this whole systemic collapse unfolds in 5 distinct phases. You've got erasure of content, cognitive vacuity, loss of essential skills, structural collapse, and finally, auditory decay. It's like a ladder going down, moving from the tangible, what you can touch, to the totally abstract, from the written page to the mind itself. Let's break these down, starting with the first attack on the physical records.
Phase 1 is a direct assault on history. Imagine this. The very essence of information just gets siphoned away, drained right out of the scrolls and books, leaving nothing but blank pages. In an instant, humanity's entire collective memory, its ability to learn from its ancestors, gone, wiped clean.
Okay, so once all the external knowledge is gone, the rot turns inward. Now it's targeting the minds of the keepers of wisdom. The scholars, the artists, the researchers. Their minds are literally drained, hollowed out, until they're described as just empty vessels. They've lost everything, their intellect, their agency, their ability to create.
And this leads to the next terrifyingly logical step in the whole decay. I mean, what good are books, even blank ones, if no one can read them anyway? Phase 3 is the extinction of the most fundamental skill we have for gaining knowledge, the art of reading. It becomes a forgotten art, and that severs humanity's last possible connection to its own history.
So, with the collective mind failing and basic skills totally lost, the very structure of reality itself starts to crumble. This is where the collapse really picks up speed and heads towards its horrifying conclusion.
And this reveals a really powerful idea, that the order we see in the world around us is just a reflection of the order inside our own minds. So in Phase 4, as the collective intellect completely failed, the physical architecture of reality just gave way. The library's ordered shelves came crashing down, plunging everything into both literal and conceptual chaos.
It makes you wonder then, what's next? After the physical world and our ideas about a collapse, what happens when the fundamental rules of thinking, the very syntax of thought, just disappear?
Well, the answer is phase 5, auditory decay. Think about the library before, that meaningful, productive silence of deep study. That's gone. It's replaced by the noise of madness, the incoherent babbling of a populace that's lost all reason. Without any shared logic or language, there's no cooperation, there's no shared truth, there's just noise.
So what's left after all of that? After all 5 phases have done their work? It's not a new beginning, it's not a clean slate, it's just a chilling, empty void, haunted by the ghost of everything that was lost.
And this is a really important point. The universal undoing didn't create some blank canvas for a fresh start. No, it left behind the rubble of what once was known. That monstrous being that was created, it wasn't a god of wisdom. It was a devourer of wisdom, and all it left behind was wreckage.
This final state has a name, the void of sovereign reason, and it's defined by 2 distinct horrors. First, imagine this haunting, nagging feeling that something vital, something crucial, has been lost. But you don't have the words or even the concepts to name what it is. And second, there's this persistent vacuum where understanding used to live. Now it's filled with nothing but the echo of a madman's laughter.
And that brings us to the ultimate warning of this entire story. When the will to knowledge embraces the will to chaos, the mind inevitably devours itself. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That the pure pursuit of knowledge, when it gets twisted by this desire for absolute control, doesn't lead to enlightenment. It leads to self-annihilation. It leaves you wondering, the real danger isn't just what we risk by forgetting, but what happens when the very structures we use to think and reason are dismantled from the inside out.